like money? Do you want to make money?
Business investors of today, we here in the Netherlands strongly believe that you need to take that money currently burning a hole in your pocket and invest it in the Netherlands' bright and promising future.
After taking a brief look at our cultural, economic, and political positions, it will be clear that the Netherlands is by far the best, safest, and most profitable investment of your life.
So let's get to it.
Today we will be looking at the various aspects of the Netherlands' diverse culture. We will go through a brief introduction on the culture in this nation, the business etiquette do's and don'ts, the cultural impact on businesses in this country, and finally the 5 cultural dimensions. So let's talk culture. Well, to start off, let's take a quick look at the Dutch culture. Personally, when I think about culture, the first thing that comes to my mind is food. Dutch cuisine consists of cooking traditions and practices from the Netherlands. The country's cuisine is also shaped by the practices of fishing and farming. Traditionally, Dutch cuisine is simple and straightforward, with many vegetables and little meat. Unlike most nations, they indulge in 4 meals a day and always leave room for dessert. Some known Dutch treats include vla, which is a twist on vanilla custard, and broodpap, which is a bread pudding made from aged bread and milk. Besides all these tasty treats, the Dutch are always very well versed in dozens of languages, including English and French, but their native tongue is still Dutch. As well, they are famous for many artists and novelists, which include Vincent van Gogh and Multatuli. And when it comes to religion, you will find that although many civilians choose not to practice any, there are still many others of various religious backgrounds living in the Netherlands. Now, let's look at the business etiquette do's and don'ts. The Dutch are very tolerant and modest people whom expect to be treated with respect in all settings. But in a place of business, certain formalities must be practiced. Punctuality is one convention that the Dutch pride themselves on. If one is late for a meeting or interview, this is viewed as a serious lack of respect for the other party, and in turn, it deteriorates the relationship between both businesses and individuals. Practicality is another large factor when determining the success of a business interaction. When presenting one's ideas to a group of investors, it is crucial that they are practical and factual. Anything less is not tolerated and seen as a lack of dedication and focus to any given project. The dress code deemed appropriate in this nation is business casual, which means that the often mandatory student tie can be replaced by elegant sports jackets and appropriate dresses. As a nation, the Dutch are very conservative, so any inappropriate exposure of skin is not condoned and may influence any business decisions to be made. Finally, body language. The presentation of oneself and the gestures we make often speak louder than our words. In the Netherlands, there are specific gestures that one should avoid. For example, do not have your hands in your pockets at any point during a meeting. Chewing gum is not acceptable, and any physical contact beyond the initial handshake is frowned upon. Some extra things one should try to do when in a business setting include standing when a woman enters the room, making eye contact with everyone, and giving out constructive criticism when appropriate. Now, let's discuss the cultural impact on business. When we discuss cultural impact, we look at whether a nation is monochronic or polychronic, the spatial perception, and methods of communication. The Netherlands is a monochronic environment. What this means is that they are sure to do things one step at a time and plan every aspect of any venture they choose to pursue. This is to ensure its success. This planning takes a long time, and because Dutch companies are so profit-oriented, you can be sure they will make sure everything is executed flawlessly. Not only does this ensure that most ventures are executed, but that any and all investments put into the company are safe in its control. When it comes to spatial perception, the Dutch are truly enjoy their personal space. If and when you are conducting business in the Netherlands, make sure that besides the introductory handshake, you keep your hands to yourself. They will respect your boundaries and expect the same respect in return. Communication in the Netherlands is similar to how business individuals communicate in Canada. Various technological programs and devices are utilized when business meetings are to take place, such as Skype. A definite upside to doing business in the Netherlands is the fact that there are no language barriers. Although Dutch is the language indigenous to the country, the civilians and businessmen in particular are all multilingual. They speak a wide range of languages specifically to ensure that their international connections are not jeopardized in any way. Next, let's touch on the 5 cultural dimensions. First is the Netherlands' strong sense of individualism. What this means for this nation is that they have a loose-knit social framework, in which all civilians are expected to take care of themselves as well as their families. Although most business relationships are casual and seemingly of equal significance, most bonds that are developed are contract-based and provide both participating parties with a mutual benefit and advantage, which is great for investors. Next is femininity. This describes the nation's ability to cooperate more than compete against one another. This foundation of support and balance creates a more equal and positive work environment as well as home environment. More specifically, in businesses, the job of the manager is to support employee decisions and try to include them in everything. As well, any and all conflicts are resolved through compromise and negotiation. And although this may take a while, it ensures that the majority is satisfied with all decisions. This is great for investors because it guarantees that their opinions and input will be valued and thoroughly considered when making final decisions. Uncertainty avoidance is a nation's response to what the future may hold. The Dutch's response to change is to attempt to maintain rigid codes of belief and behavior. They have an emotional need for rules as they believe that the time is money, and it should not be wasted. As well, they are intolerant to the unorthodox behavior and ideas that may come with foreign investors. Fortunately, they have a strong urge to keep busy and work hard, and the normality of punctuality and precision make up for their resistance to change. The power distance index in the Netherlands is relatively high. What this means is that they are a nation that dislikes control, and that they believe everyone should be relatively equal. The hierarchies in place are simply there for convenience. All power is decentralized. In a business setting, the managers and employees are often very informal with one another, and managers can count on their teams for everything, although in return, employees expect to be consulted for everything. This is great for investors from foreign countries because it allows them to blend easily and focus on the tasks at hand rather than politics. Finally, the Netherlands is a pragmatic society. What this means is that they believe that the truth is dependent on the situation, context, and time. They understand that people are unable to explain everything, and so they choose to live in the moment. Although, unlike most pragmatic societies, the Dutch feel that the excessive purchasing of wants versus needs is a waste. They much prefer to save and invest their money into the future of, let's say, another company. As well, they are able to easily adapt their traditions to change conditions, which can come in handy in various international scenarios.
Hello, my name is Rohit and I will be talking about the economics of the Netherlands today. As we stated before, the purpose of this video is to get you to invest your hard-earned money into the country. I will be providing proofs and facts about the Netherlands that will surely convince you to invest in this amazing country. So let's get started. So before we begin, I would like to give an overview of what I'm going to talk about today. First of all, I will be talking about some general facts, then imports and exports, then major trading partners of the Netherlands, some economic indicators, and foreign relationships that the Netherlands have with other countries. So here are some general facts about the Netherlands. The Netherlands has a decent population of 16.77 million people. For GDP per capita, they have a GDP per capita of $46,054 USD, which is well above the world's average GDP per capita of $42,100 USD. For unemployment, the current unemployment rate of the Netherlands is 8.7%, which is just a bit more than a good unemployment rate, but later in the video I will be giving reasons to show why this unemployment rate isn't so bad. As of March 2014, the Netherlands have had an inflation rate of 0.8%, which is an excellent inflation rate for a country. The Netherlands is one of the leaders in the world in terms of foreign investment, leading the way with $589 billion USD invested in their country last year. Now, moving on to the imports of the Netherlands. The Netherlands plays a huge role in the world as they import 3.4% of the world's total imports. The top 5 products that the Netherlands is currently importing are crude petroleum, refined petroleum, computers, cars, and machinery. Due to the large amount of natural resources that they possess, they require tons of machinery to turn those resources into products, so the need for machinery is huge. The Netherlands have been very selective about what they import. They only import what they need. For example, the machinery. More machines means the country can now produce more products which result in profit for the country. This is significant because by being strategic about what they import, it ensures the strength of the economy and prevents waste, also resulting in a better trade surplus. The country that the Netherlands imports the most from is Germany, as they conduct 15% of their import trade with them. Now, for the exports of the Netherlands. Like their imports, they also play a big role in the world's exports, as they are the fifth largest exporter in the world, contributing 3.8% of the world's total exports. In 2012, the exports accounted for 30% of the country's total income. This is significant because if a company can profit off its exports and reinvest that money into the country, they can become more efficient and ultimately begin to generate more profit, which will provide numerous benefits for the economy. The top 5 products that the Netherlands exports are refined petroleum, crude petroleum, computers, packaged medicaments, and machinery. The Netherlands export similar things to their imports because they are able to produce different types of machinery that they don't need as much and are able to sell it off, which is good for the country as it results in profit. Also, the agricultural industry in the Netherlands is also huge, as it is the backbone for the food processing industry, and the food processing industry provides large trade surpluses. Germany is also the main country that the Netherlands exports to. Alright, so now moving on to the major trading partners. Every country in the EU has at least 2% of trade with the Netherlands. The top 5 major countries that conduct trade with the Netherlands are Germany, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and the US. Now, moving on to the GDP. The Netherlands has an amazing GDP of $772.20 billion USD. In 2008, the GDP hit an all-time high of $870.80 billion. Due to the economic crisis that erupted in 2008, like most countries in the world, the Netherlands did see a decline in their GDP. Despite the decline, they were able to recover and are still in the process of recovering, but they are on track to make a complete recovery as of 2015. The Netherlands are forecasting a growth of 1.2% by the end of this year, and the original forecast of 1% for next year has been changed to a growth of 1.4%. The European Commission increased their forecast because they are expecting a rise in investments and an increase in household spending. This forecast is significant because if investors were to invest now, they would have the potential to make lots of profit soon and see quick returns by the end of the year, because if there was a growth in the GDP as it is being forecasted, the country will plus and so will the investors. Now, moving on to unemployment. The current unemployment rate in the Netherlands, as mentioned before, is 8.7%. 5 to 6% is classified as a good unemployment rate for a country. And I know what you might be thinking. Well, isn't the unemployment rate of the Netherlands too high? Yes, it may seem high, but let's think about this a bit deeper. The citizens that are currently unemployed are mostly the age of 25 in the Netherlands. This means that if there were investments in certain industries, such as the healthcare sector, there is the potential for many jobs to be created. With the large number of healthy people who are able to work, with these investments in those sectors, they could start working and help contribute to the economy. This is good for both the investors and the country, because with more people working, they can now afford to buy more product, resulting in the investors generating higher sales and ultimately making more profit. More people working is also good for the government, as they can collect more taxes, also resulting in economic growth. So why should this matter to you as an investor? Well, as stated earlier, with your investment in the healthcare sector, for example, the Netherlands can begin to hire people and start to generate profit and give you returns very quickly. Now, moving on to foreign direct investment. The Netherlands is a proven country in terms of foreign investment. Approximately 6,300 companies have established their operations in the country, and most of them have seen beautiful returns on their investment. The Netherlands are one of the largest recipients of foreign direct investment in the world, receiving a total of $589 billion USD. The Dutch also have one of the best tax systems for international investors, which is beneficial for the investors because they don't have to pay as much taxes as in other countries. This means that they can keep more of the profit because they have to pay a lower rate. The Dutch also have a lower income tax rate. Their rate is much below the national average of the EU at 20%. The Netherlands also have signed treaties with over 80 countries that ensure the avoidance of double taxation, and in some cases the taxation can be as low as 0%. The Dutch are also known for giving a very generous amount of tax breaks for foreign investors. Some tax breaks are as high as 30%. Now, with all these benefits, why wouldn't you want to invest in the Netherlands? You have the greatest force on your side, the government. Every investor dreams about tax breaks, so why haven't you gotten up and invested already? Now, finally moving on to the last portion of our video. This portion is about trade relationships that the Netherlands has with Canada. Now, this portion of the video is for our Canadian investors. The relationship between Canada and the Netherlands is above and beyond just business. They have established a bond that simply cannot be expressed through business. The two countries have created a bond since World War II, as many of the citizens have resided in each of the other countries. Known as the gateway to the European Union, Canada is very dependent on the Netherlands, as all its exports must go through the Netherlands in order to get to the EU. In 2011, the Netherlands were the second largest source of foreign investment for Canada. The total Dutch investment in Canada totaled $56.3 billion. The current tax rates that the Netherlands gives Canada are also amazing rates, and the investors should clearly take an advantage of that.
Now let's talk about politics. So the political overview. We'll be covering the topics of the type of government in Netherlands, the current political parties, also the current outlook of the coalition parties and their ideologies, as well as political risks and terrorism. So now let's talk about the type of government in the Netherlands. So just like Canada, the Netherlands has a parliamentary system that is a constitutional monarchy. For those of you that don't know, a constitutional monarchy is a democratic government where a monarch, so a king or queen, holds no political power but remains the head of state in his or own country. Essentially, the monarchs are figureheads that sovereigns but do not rule. the Prime Minister of the country has control of authority in the nation. Currently, King Willem-Alexander is the ceremonial head of state in Netherlands. And in Netherlands, the chief of government, which is also known as a prime minister, is chosen by the king or queen. And I say it like that because he's not really, the prime minister is not really chosen, but is elected by the people. So similar to Canada, the prime minister is the leader of the elected majority power in parliament, or of the biggest coalition party, which I will explain later. So the government also created a Council of State, which is basically an advisory committee which works to strengthen and develop policies in the nation. The council is again chosen by the Queen, but is based on instruction given by the Prime Minister. So the legislative branch, or the parliament in Netherlands, is called the States General. And the States General has two houses. So it follows the bicameralism legislative body, where there is the first chamber and the second chamber. The second chamber is the most instrumental and is responsible for introducing the legislation and has the ability to adjust bills established by the Council of Ministers. The second chamber includes 150 members, and these individuals are elected by the people for 4-year terms. These members represent the entire nation, which is different from the American system where the members represent districts. The first chamber includes 75 members, and these members are elected by the legislators of each distinct province, which are 12 in total in the Netherlands. And so another difference in the politics of Netherlands compared to Canada or the US is basically where the elections are directed and guided towards specific parties rather than individuals. Thus, people vote for the party instead of the candidates. The results of these elections directly compare to the amount of seats a party receives in the second chamber. So, for example, if a party is given 45% of the vote, it wins 45% of seats in parliament. And so given the proportionality in the election, smaller parties are given the opportunity to be represented in the States General. So politics in Netherlands, as I said before, is run by multiple coalition of small parties. So the difference is it's not only two parties, like in America where you have the Democrats and Republicans. And this is because since 1918, no party has won a majority of seats in the parliament. And so this coalition exists and is encouraged of two or more parties. And another unique thing due to this unique proportionality representation is that even though the Prime Minister is the most important figure in the government, he or she does not have as much power as other prime ministers when compared to Germany, Britain, Canada, US. And this is because of the impossibility of a majority government. And also the use of a coalition reduces the allocated power. And that's why in Netherlands, the prime minister is known as the primus inter pares, which also means the first among equals. On to the political parties. Currently, the most prominent parties in Netherlands are the VVD, so the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, the PVDA, the Labour Party, and the CDA, the Christian Democratic Appeal. But there are also many other smaller parties with seats in Parliament. The overall ideologies of the parties have become very extreme and becoming less centered, either leaning towards the right or the left of the political spectrum. This may be due to the fact that the Dutch are currently experiencing conflict pertaining social issues such as immigration, incorporation of culture, and the European Union. The voters in Netherlands are known to be very unpredictable, and they are known to select the party that they will vote for in the last moment or stage. The party that is currently running the government is the coalition between VVD and PVDA. The Prime Minister is Mark Rutte, who is the leader of the VVD, along with the senior minister of the PVDA party, Lodewijk Asscher, and he was appointed as deputy prime minister. And both of them lead the coalition-based cabinet. So the VVD, the People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, was founded in 1948 and is currently led by Mark Wright. He's largely backed by non-religious and middle-class individuals, and this party lands on the center-right of the political spectrum, which are basically a conservative liberal party. They place importance on areas such as private enterprises, the free market, democracy, international cooperation, and fiscal responsibility. Gradually, over the years, the party has relocated to the right wing due to underlining welfare cuts, tax increases, and spending cuts. Next, the PVDA, the Labour Party. It was founded in 1946, currently led by Diederik Samsom. It lands on the center-left of the political spectrum and is a social democratic party. It is the merged party of several smaller parties. They voice ideas based on socialism, combined with liberal as well as humanist thoughts, and built a welfare state. Diederik Samsom's charm and leadership has proved very successful for the party, and they provide policies that assist individuals with lower incomes with compensations and enhance the growth of the economy through public money. Lastly, the CDA, the Christian Democratic Appeal. It was founded in 1945, led by Sybren van Harisma Boumand. It includes Christian and both non-Christian voters. Currently, it lands on the center-right of the political spectrum, but includes some policies that fall under the center-right. After World War II, the support for the party was at an all-time high, but has significantly decreased over time. And they've only won 8.5% of the vote, which is good for fifth in the 2012 election. So on to the coalition agreement and the outlook of the current parties. So leaders Mark Wright and Diederik Samsom have reached a $22 million budget cut for the next 4 years, and has reduced the tax breaks and home loans. And due to this budget cut, popularity for this coalition party has significantly fallen. And because the budget deficits, and basically this involves spending cuts and a huge tax increase. And due to the deteriorating economy and increase in unemployment rate, the amount of satisfaction the public has for this coalition party has decreased significantly. The parliament may or may not accept this proposed budget plan, and the general population has become dissatisfied with the reduced spending, fragile economy, and weakened house prices and decreased pension. Politics in Netherlands have become very unstable, and many parties have voiced apparent differences on topics including immigration, welfare, government finances, and the Eurozone crisis. Currently, the votes are very widespread, and not one party would win a majority if the election was today. And so, again, a coalition of 3 to 4 parties must be set up. So now let's move on to some of the political risks currently taking place in the Netherlands. Budget cuts. So with Greece and Portugal facing huge economic crisis in the EU, Netherlands has immense pressure to conform to budget rules. Netherlands has adjusted its budget to avoid current crisis and reduce their budget deficit. Their prediction was 4.6 gross domestic output in 2013, and now currently it's 3% below the allowed EU limit. But they are still unaware of how many more adjustments can be made to the budget before the upcoming election. The adjusted budget includes increased tax on fossil fuels, alcohol, tobacco, reduced value in healthcare, a pay freeze for public servants for 2 years, and new tax on banks. Many unions and competing parties have insulted and criticized the budget, explaining it would stunt growth and be completely redesigned after the election. Long-term forecasters have cautioned the Dutch will experience rising values and deficits unless major changes are made, such as increased pension age, flexible labor market, reduced house subsidies, and tax breaks, which are also not agreed by opposing parties. The improved budget plan also includes higher healthcare payments and lower payouts for workers. Next, let's talk about the immigration and foreign policy. The Dutch population currently is divided over topics such as immigration, Islam, and the country's international profile. Lately, the immigration policies have become more strict as there's a fear of immigrants not being able to assimilate themselves with the Dutch culture and society, and thus not being able to find suitable jobs. And this is specifically targeted towards Muslims. The right-wing politician Geert Wilders has been able to influence the government to create stricter immigration policies, and in return giving the government his party's support and legislature. And he's been able to ban the niqab, which is a commonly worn face veil worn by Muslim women, by stating that it interferes with the Dutch culture. Last but not least, terrorism has risen in the Netherlands. This increased terror threat level has happened due to citizens incoming from Syria that are suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Let me read a quote said by the National Coordinator for Security and Counterterrorism, Dick Schoof. He has stated that the chance of an attack in the Netherlands or against Dutch interests abroad has risen. This is also due to the fact that jihadist travelers coming back to Netherlands tend to be traumatized with an intent to disturb peace and create violence, becoming threats to the country. Up to 100 Dutch have traveled to areas with conflict, all currently being monitored by the government. And it's been the first time since 2009 that the terror threat level has reached substantial.
So, at this point in time, you might still be asking yourself, should I invest in the Netherlands? Is it really worth it? Well, here are a few things that will hopefully tie everything together and make this decision easy. For one, the Netherlands offers a strategic location in Europe. What this means is that the geography and the accessibility of this nation is superb. This paired with its excellent infrastructure are just some of the many reasons why other foreign companies have established businesses here. Secondly, it offers a competitive fiscal climate. As we have mentioned before, all of the tax benefits that they provide, such as the 20% tax rate and tax breaks, are well established, and all qualifying shareholders are exempt from Dutch corporate income tax. Third, we have superior logistics and technology infrastructure. The Netherlands is classified as one of the most wired countries in the world, with a dynamic force in electronic commerce, communications, and outsourcing, as well with more than a decade of investments in high-speed internet, cable, and digital communication systems under our belts. We have established an ideal base for companies seeking to take advantage of modern technology. Fourth, we offer a conducive innovation environment. Our open innovation approach and public partnerships offer a favorable environment for businesses looking for an elevation in their business development. And for foreign investors in the Netherlands, we guarantee results if an investment is made in its dominant sector. Fifth, our pro-business environment creates a gateway to Europe that helps international companies flourish. It provides an international outlook and openness to foreign investments, which is pressed in the Dutch culture. This transparency has provided us with a wealth of outstanding business partners who know how to deal with global business challenges in today's economy. Sixth, we are known for our strong workforce. We have groomed and accumulated one of the most highly educated, flexible, and motivated workforces in all of Europe. Most of our civilians are multilingual, thus enabling them to successfully operate in companies across any industry and serve consumers globally. As well, Dutch law offers employers a range of contract possibilities to acquire employees. And finally, we here in the Netherlands are extremely proud of our high standard of living, all while maintaining an affordable life for civilians. The cost of housing, education, and cultural activities are one of the lowest in all of Europe. Various culture and leisure activities are open for citizens as well as tourists. And with so much to do and see, it's no wonder the Netherlands is the most welcoming and entertaining country. At this point in time, I believe that it is now clear where you should be spending your money. If you are looking for a safe and smart way to invest your money, the Netherlands is clearly the place to do it. And For any questions or further information, feel free to tweet us, find us on Facebook, or email us at investinthenetherlands.com. Thanks for watching, and we hope to hear from you soon.